Hello and welcome to EU Tweets of the Week. This week, stadium lights are not political, member states stay critical, and von der Leyen sees it all. This episode is supported by the Martin Center. More about their European Ideas Forum later on. This week, one topic was overshadowing all the other. Though shadow is probably not the best word. Yes, I'm of course talking about Hungarian PM Viktor Orban cancelling his trip to watch his team play Germany after the stadium rainbow lights row. UEFA meanwhile was very busy explaining how this is definitely not political, saying UEFA respects the rainbow. Turning down the request to illuminate the Munich stadium in rainbow colors is not political. On the contrary, the request itself was political, linked to the Hungarian football team's presence. Chris Pest said, "Keep on digging, guys, the hole is not yet deep enough." But hey, Croatia's EU Commissioner for Demography and blah blah likes UEFA's explanation, said Sam Morgan. Helena Dalli, EU Commissioner for Equality on the other hand, said, "Rainbows are not offensive, LGBTIQ phobia is." The votes were initially also split in the Council, where, on the initiative of Belgium and Benelux, 13 member states sent a strong signal against recent anti-LGBTIQ laws passed in Hungary, calling on the EU Commission to act, so Belgium's Sophie Wilmès. Dave Keating called it Europe's LGBT divide, though Stefan de Koning pointed out that these back then 14 countries represent almost 70% of the EU's population. Important nuance to the narrative that the EU is 50-50 split on the point. And more member states kept joining the list, and also the EU Commission. It was clear that this bill was against EU values. Now we assessed it is also against EU law, said Commissioner Vera Jourova. Just in time for the European Council, where a group of EU countries will confront Viktor Orban and demand he repeal the country's LGBTI+ bill, reported Marine Khan. Ah yes, who could forget? Leaders are meeting in Brussels on Thursday and Friday to talk about tackling the pandemic and migration. MEP Assistant imagined the reaction to Charles Michel announcing that Hungary will be discussed a little bit like this, while Gerardo Fortuna predicted that EU leaders will be, like that guy from that match. And it's not the only late addition. The FT's Valentina Popp broke the news that Germany and France want the EU to invite Putin to a summit with EU leaders and engage in selective engagement with Russia on issues of common interest. Smaller EU nations are fuming. And fuming is right. Estonia's former president, Toomas Hendrik Ilves, tweeted that Merkel and Macron are either clueless or have learned nothing from 80 years of history and the nations betrayed by the Germans, without even talking to the other EU countries, exactly like their forebears. And Pavel Tokarski called it the perfect recipe for messing up the June summit, a bad idea put forward by an inappropriate political format and terrible timing. Talking about good timing, this episode is supported by the Martin Center. The European Ideas Forum is happening on the 29th and 30th of June. Under the title A New Roaring Twenties for Europe, it will discuss crises and opportunities in the post-pandemic age. To find out more, just head over to their Twitter. Also happening this week, Commission President Ursula von der Leyen showing her fancy new travel certificate, or whatever we're calling it these days, by visiting as many EU countries as possible, or, as she announced it, her Next Generation EU tour, to personally give the green light to the recovery plans and hand out some big folders. France, Italy, Belgium, Latvia, Slovakia, Austria, Luxembourg, Denmark, Greece, you get the picture. Also, so did Italy, as Mario Draghi's Italy has found its iconic photo. DG Meme captioned it best: "A frugal morning to you all," while Belgian State Secretary seemed just happy that his government could avoid a new sofa issue. And that's it for another week. Join us again next Friday for more lights and fights in the Brussels bubble Twitter sphere.